Hello, sports fans, and welcome back to Sports on the Spot. My name is Willie Charger, also known as the Professor, and I'll be joined here this afternoon with our very own Nick James, followed by our resident gambling guru, Ronnie, who's going to give us his rundown today as we talk about the world of sports.
Yeah,
Um,
Willie, I thought we were going to be talking about free agency today. Why aren't you wearing your Charger gear?
oh, yeah, well, we are going to talk about free agency today, Nick, but I thought I'd take the opportunity today to talk a little bit about the NCAA basketball playoffs that are starting in Indianapolis this weekend. In case the sports fans don't know, one of the teams that are in the tourney is our UCSB Gauchos, University of California, Santa Barbara. In case you don't know, Nick, Willie happens to have 3 degrees from this university, and he's very loyal Gaucho. Uh, they have a tough opening game this weekend against Creighton, 20-8, out of the Big East. They lost to Georgetown, the Big East title game. Um, they're going to the big dance for about the 22nd time, whereas the Gauchos haven't been there in 10 years. Last time they actually won a game in the tournament was 1990. They'll be making their sixth appearance in the big dance. By the time the show airs, the Gauchos might already be out of the tournament, but I thought this might be my only chance to talk about my alma mater. I will say this: they will win the first game. They will beat Creighton. They might, and I will say they might upset Virginia or Ohio in the second round. They'll make the Sweet 16 and get knocked out probably by the eventual champion Gonzaga, who most sports fans believe are going to go 32-0 and win the national championship. Can't overlook Baylor and Michigan, of course, but that's the way it's looking. Nick, you're looking impatient. I know you want to start talking about the NFL. What do we got as far as free agency goes? Any big news coming out of the NFL?
Well, the big thing for me being a Charger fan and for you is we have our new center to build our offensive line around and our new tight end to replace Hunter Henry. We have Jared Cook. And what's our center's name, Willie?
Guy by the name of Corey Linsley, all
Yeah.
pro center from the Packers.
It's going to be a great piece to put around Justin Herbert. And the Chargers just love their tight ends in the red zone. Jared Cook is really up there the last few seasons with catches, helping Aaron Rodgers, helping Drew Brees. Been kind of a mercenary. Hopefully, he can find a home here with us. One of the funniest things I saw with free agency was the Bears getting rid of Trubisky, trying to make a big push for Russell Wilson, giving all their fans that Russell Wilson hope. And it's like, okay, you don't get Russell Wilson, but you bring in Andy Dalton. Was he really better than Mitch Trubisky? You saw him play last year for the Cowboys, and he didn't look like a starting caliber quarterback. What do you think about that one, Willie?
Nothing worse than getting your hopes up and then having them dashed quickly. I feel sorry for the long suffering Bears fans who are still looking for a quarterback. Uh, when was the last time they had a Super Bowl quarterback? Jim McMahon? I don't know. It's been a while.
Kyle
Um,
Orton, or was it the other guy? Um,
oh,
Back when they played the Colts. I can't, but they didn't win. So
you mentioned Hunter Henry going to the Patriots. It seemed like the Patriots went on a big spending spree this offseason. He wasn't the only big name that they added to their roster. Belichick must be happy.
yeah, well, their MO is don't spend, but it's easy to not spend and keep your team together when you're in the playoffs or the Super Bowl every year. And everything that could have went bad last year did. They don't make the playoffs, and Tom Brady essentially wins the Super Bowl. So it's pretty much, why not try to mix it up? They got a lot of guys on defense. There's some questionable acquisitions on offense. Nelson Aguilar getting paid that kind of money. I feel like you could draft a guy with that talent. I mean, Philly didn't want him, and he had a big season with the Raiders. A big season. He had a handful of yards and touchdowns, but they were more of a big play team. I thought who did they have? Myers and Bird last year kind of coming up. I thought they were really good for the Patriots, and getting the two tight ends, he got Hunter Henry and then Jonnu Smith. That's going to be, I think they're trying to recreate that Gronk Hernandez kind of vibe with Cam Newton, and then they're going to have two tight end sets, extra blocking for him to run, or a little dink and dunk passes so he doesn't have to try to get the ball too far down the field.
Let's see if that proves to be successful. What about Fitzpatrick, Ryan Fitzpatrick, landing over here with what team did he end up with?
Washington.
Oh, Washington. Does that make the Washington football team an NFC contender?
Well, they
NFC?
already were last year with arguably worst quarterback play with Heineke, and Alex Smith and him. I guess it's a toss up. I'd take Fitzpatrick. He's not hurt. He's not bound to be hurt again, and a little less dangerous, maybe more dangerous throwing the ball. But he played really well for the Dolphins, and he didn't lose his starting job for poor play. He lost it because everyone wanted Tua in, and he could still be their backup if he didn't want to leave. He's going to get a shot here. I think the Washington team's going to still be one of the better teams in that division. Maybe contend a little with the Giants. We'll see how Dak recovers from his ankle injury, and same with Daniel Jones and Saquon. I mean, that division's up for grabs, but they got arguably the best defense in the division with Chase Young coming into his second year. I think if they can just kind of get their offense going, they're going to be really good with Ryan Fitzpatrick and easily can make the playoffs, at least being division winners.
Yeah, I wouldn't sleep on the Washington team this year. Fitzpatrick has shown that he's a veteran, he's a winner, and he might be the guy that turns things around for the Washington football team. The only two quarterbacks that we really haven't mentioned, but are still very much in the news, are Russell Wilson, Seattle, and Deshaun Watson of Houston. Any information on either one of those quarterbacks?
Well, the Seahawks say they're not interested in trading Russell Wilson at this time. And as I mentioned, it sounds like the Bears made a pretty big push. They probably could have gotten what they wanted for trading him, but I think they're probably thinking trading him's not the right move. I consider Wilson a Seahawk for life, so it's really weird that he's trying to get out of there, but we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. It sounds like there's a rift with Pete Carroll. Is it salvageable? We'll see. As far as Deshaun Watson goes, everything was kind of rolling in his favor until recently, and now we have these scandal incidents. About 3 incidents popped up as of today, with just inappropriate conduct with women, and maybe his talent gives him a pass on that, and maybe it could be trade bait. Maybe Houston uses it as leverage to keep him. In a sense, nobody wants that kind of attention brought to their organization. You've seen people come past it like Ben Roethlisberger and Bob Kraft. What do you think about that, Willie?
I think fans are forgive and forget as long as you're a winner. That's the sad thing in our society. But you mentioned Big Ben in Pittsburgh. He had similar types of storm clouds that he had to deal with a few seasons ago, and he came back as if really it wasn't that big of a deal. So I don't think that this is going to necessarily hurt Watson's trade value. I think that there's still some teams out there that would be willing to make a trade. And for Houston, this might be the opportunity, to get him out of town and get something in return. We'll see what happens there. And now it's time for the Ronnie Rundown. Take it away, Ronnie.
Hey, how you doing, everybody? Been a while since I talked to you. I hope everybody's doing well, making a little bit of money, and hope you're enjoying the first couple of rounds here, the NCAA tournament. With some big upsets and been some fun games, and we're going to talk a little bit about that as we speak. Loyola Chicago beating Illinois, the 1 seed. Pretty exciting stuff there, and there's been quite a few huge upsets like that. Of course, they're playing down there in the bubble in Indy this year. You had the VCU guys all getting COVID. I was actually down in Indy a few years ago for the Final Four and ran into one of those guys from that show, Gay Guys for the Straight Guy. His name was Carson Cresliano, I think. Nice guy, real good guy, some good town, fun people. It's a good time over there in Indy. And we're going to talk about 2 teams that I really like going forward in the tournament. Now, I already have bets on 2 of these teams, and it may or may not be too late to get on them. Those 2 teams are Iowa and West Virginia. All right, Iowa, I love them. I think they're fantastic. They play a great game. Of course, they got to go through Gonzaga, which is going to be tough. And Gonzaga's a favorite, as they should be, but there's no value on that. The value is on Iowa. I got them plus 1,500 to win the national championship. The chances of them doing that, probably pretty slim. That's why they're plus 1,500. But if for somehow they make the Final Four, maybe they go to the Elite against Gonzaga, I'm going to put a bet on Gonzaga to win $100. something like that, and then I win either way. Because if Iowa does beat Gonzaga, I think they're winning the whole thing. So you got to hedge your bets in these types of situations. Same thing with West Virginia. I got to bet on them to make the Final Four, and I got to bet on them to win the whole thing, and hopefully we can hedge out of that at some point. So those are a couple of teams that I like, and may not be too late to get on. A couple of games coming up that I like. I like Iowa, again, -5.5 against Oregon. Oregon is the beneficiary of the COVID for the VCU guys. So we don't know how that's going to go, but Iowa's looking pretty good. I like Michigan -5.5 in their next game. I don't even know what they're playing. Don't really care. I'm going to take them -5.5. And I like USC -1 against Kansas. Kansas, usually a powerhouse, not looking so good this year. They got a guy injured. My buddy Billy Bosiliano lives down here in Kansas for reasons I can't discuss. He's actually probably going to be a little mad at me for saying that, but he said the fans aren't excited about them. They're kind of not looking too good this year, so I'm going to take his word for it, and I'm going to take USC -1. So good luck, everybody. Be smart, be safe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Well, that's it for this week's show. Thanks to everyone for watching. Please remember to like, comment, or subscribe to our show whenever you have a chance. Sports on the Spot questions can also be submitted to the sportsonthespot@gmail.com, or else you can just ask the question on our YouTube channel. That's going to be it for this week's episode. Have a good week, and we'll see everybody next time.